Well, welcome to Wanderlust, my video blog about search for Forrest Fenn's Gold. We're here on a rainy Saturday in mid-April, and here I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and we are definitely seeing rain. Now, this is extreme rain, that's for sure. Let's see if I can switch it to something else. I just thought this was funny. So yeah, there's a sound effect in the back with the rain. I think this picture is Cheyenne. I'm a like anybody else. I love mountain scenery and stuff. So let's see if this other one was pretty cool picture too. Oh, yeah, this one was really nice. I think this was somewhere in Colorado. I love the stark contrast in the colors. I wonder if somebody messed with this picture. Let's turn this rain down. So we have. It's been raining here, and we looks like we have rain looking forward for forecast is just rain and more rain for 2 weeks looking forward straight. And a lot of times when we get rain here in the Pacific Northwest, we're butted right up against the Pacific Ocean, and north of us is the Gulf of Alaska. And a lot of times when storms come through British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest, when I say Pacific Northwest, I mean, like, it's Oregon, Idaho, Washington State, and kind of Montana. But when a lot of the weather comes through here, when we get really big storms that come through, a lot of the time that usually means about 2 or 3 days later, the Midwest, the Rockies through Colorado, Montana, across Wyoming, and even the plains will get really hit really hard with that storm coming through, especially if we get quite an aggressive storm. And sometimes, by the time it goes over the mountains, it's turned into a lot of snow and wind. So the fact that we're seeing a bit of some aggressive storms coming through here means there could be even more snow and rain in the Rockies. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer if you're thinking about going out, putting boots on the ground, and kind of fighting with this background sound, the rain. This is a nice picture too. So, what did I want to talk about? I want to talk about a bunch of things. I want to do kind of all over the place videos, and I just wanted to talk on topics, maybe kind of somewhat random. Let me get this other piece of. Let me get the poem up here and some other information. Okay, so that might be a little bit better now. I'll turn the rain music off, and I got my Forrest Fenn poem up here, which is always worth looking at every once in a while. Um, and so, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about the 9 clues in the poem. Forrest Fenn has said that there are 9 clues that will lead you to his treasure chest. I believe he's also said that the poem is a map. He's also said that with the poem and a good map, it'll lead you straight to the treasure chest. I think a very interesting discussion is revolves around what is a clue? Okay, what is a clue? Right? If I look it up in Merriam-Webster, it says that a clue is should have this stuff prepared. It's a lot of work to prepare for these videos. I often am amazed at some of these people, other video bloggers. They are able to just rattle off stuff, and I wonder. I'm just amazed at how they can cut videos like that. I'm impressed with that. Uh, So Merriam-Webster says the first definition is that a clue is something that guides through an intricate process or maze of difficulties. So if we apply that to the poem, that really doesn't help much, but it does actually. It leads into the original thing I wanted to talk about. And I was going to go through this whole list of things, but I really was just going to cut to the chase and make the point that I think is the most interesting about what I think the thrill of the chase is really about. And one of the things I always find really difficult about the YouTube format is that you have the video requirement is 15 minutes, and it's like as soon as you try and put some content in and you talk about a few things, it's like 15 minutes goes by. It's really quick. Um, so you got to kind of fit that in there. And more and more, I've decided that it may be better to just make my point, make my videos, and then I'm just going to cut them and then post them in part one, part two, part three. That way I don't have to always feel like I'm under the gun, but to get it all to fit into that time limit. At the same time, it does make you a little more succinct. It makes you kind of want to focus on saying something and get the point out. So, what is a clue? By the way, another thing is I'm working on obtaining a webcam and I keep doing research on webcams and or cameras in general so that you can see my face, which I still find an interesting thing or weird thing about online videos. But I'm going to get a camera and I want to use it when I go boots on the ground, and I'm actually going on a trip and it would be cool to videotape some of that. I am definitely a pretty introverted person, and it would be weird to be running around in an airport or going to different places and holding that camera up and talking into it in public. I think one thing is to sit in your den and cut a video, or even out in the forest running around with a camera would be. I'd feel comfortable doing that, but other kinds of videos in public places take a little more guts. I think you just have to be gutsy. Anyhow, I was looking at the all sorts of different kinds of cameras that you can buy, from really cheap ones to more expensive ones, and I just keep flip flopping back and forth. Plus, I have a really, really limited budget, and so it's been difficult because you start looking at like the GoPros and kind of drooling on all the features that they have, and that it's neat that they're compact and you can take them out running, and they have all this different stabilization things. And so I'm having a hard time trying to pick a camera. I'm starting to think maybe I should just choose a cheap one that I can use in cutting these videos at home first. It may not be a bad idea. So, oh, what was I talking about? What is a clue? And what is a clue? A clue is something that guides you through an intricate process or maze of difficulties. And so the poem should have 9 clues. And I thought this was fun also. Merriam-Webster says a clue. Oh, those were synonyms for clue: hint, indication, inkling, intimidation, lead, or suggestion. Okay, and this is the weirdest one of all. And this one, when I read this, I have to admit, it was a little bit of a moment of not a jaw dropper, but definitely, slam on the brakes kind of a moment where you're kind of driving down the road to Forrest Fenn kind of adventure, and you read this and just kind of slam the brakes on and kind of go, whoa, what is that? So this is interesting. It says, and I'm tearing this up, I'm going to read it out of order. It says, it grows, what is a clue? And it says, our modern sense of clue, the word clue is a guide to the solution of a mystery, which grows out to the motif of myth and folklore. And then it goes on to say one of these stories that's best known is the myth of Theseus and Minotaur. In the myth, Theseus unravels a ball of thread as he searches for the monstrous Minotaur in the labyrinth. After killing Minotaur, he retraces his steps out of the maze by rewinding the thread. And before that, it made the point that the word clue was originally a variant of a spelling of the word clue. It was just spelled differently. Clew. Spelled like this. Clue. And it became clue. Meaning a ball of thread or yarn. And that was what caught my attention because I do not have The Thrill of the Chase, the book, and I do not have the book Too Far to Walk, but I know there's the story about Forrest Fenn talking about that he had the ball of string that he had made in his room and that the ball of string disappeared. He went to, I think he said he went to school one day and when he came home, the ball of string was missing from his room, but the ball of string was too big to get out the door. So the mystery was how did the ball of string disappear from his room? And the assumption is that his mother, who he had said lamented over the ball of string, did not like the ball of string and wanted him to get rid of it. And I'm paraphrasing. That most likely his mother got rid of the ball of string. So the question is, how did his mother get rid of the ball of string? And one of the solutions to that I've always thought of is she threw it out the window. She opened the window and threw it out. Another one that she may have done was she couldn't get the ball string out the door of the bedroom. So what did she do? She pulled the string, unwound the string until it was small enough to get through the door. What the heck does any of this have to do with The Thrill of the Chase? Maybe nothing at all. But, and you could be reading I could be reading a ton into this, is that if a clue is a ball of thread or yarn, again, going way kind of off down rabbit hole, is Forrest Fenn saying to us that the 9 clues are yarns? A yarn is a story. Another thing too is that a yarn is spun thread used for knitting or weaving or sewing. I mean, is it possible that the reason why the ball of thread disappeared was because his mother pulled all the threads out of the big ball of thread and then she knit something with it and made some other item out of it and thus she was able to get rid of it? So that the only thing that I think that's kind of going off on a tangent. The thing that I think is interesting is the part about the story about the thread being um, a guide to the solution of a mystery. It grows out of the motif of a thread that helps you find one's way out of a maze.